Hey guys, so we actually have a pretty decent update this week. I believe it was over a gigabyte for whatever reason. I don't know why it was so data heavy, but we have a pretty decent update this week. The decent amount of content. We have Rosé here, his Zenkai is out. We have a free-to-play MERGED ZAMASU as well, and then we also do have some equipment as well. So decent update. I'm going to start by going over the Zenkai for LF Rosé because I think that's what most people are excited for. So let's quickly just display maximum stats, get them jumped up all the way. Let's see what his stats look like. So 282, 274, and then 182 to both defenses. Let me actually compare this guy to Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So 282, 182, 182, and then he's like 2.8 million HP. Because this Goku, I believe, also does not have the greatest stats, but he's still insanely good. Honestly, it's pretty similar, like almost exactly the same in terms of the stat spread. So this Rosé is going to have to grab some pretty decent upgrades with his unique abilities to be comparable, just because of the way that Goku already has his unique equipment. I think gives him the edge over this Rosé, but we'll see what they do. So all right, those are his stats. Again, I wouldn't really call these stats super great for an LF Zenkai. Typically, LF Zenkai characters have really, really high stats. So this isn't anything scale tipping, I would say, but it's definitely not like too bad. All right, Extreme Bleed, yes, Blast. All right, so I don't really expect him to change anything about this blue card. Massive Explode damage, it nullifies an element factor for 3 counts. Yeah, this is the same. They didn't touch this. I didn't expect them to touch this just because, again, I think it was already pretty good. All right, Divine Cannon. So the thing about this green card is, if you guys watched my video yesterday, I wanted, well, I didn't really want, but the way that they could buff this the most is having this chain off of the cover change, which we won't see in the actual green card effect itself, but let's see if they change anything. So draws a blue card, which was keyed by 50, 20% damage for 15 counts. And then 40% to the duration. Okay, so they actually buffed that duration from 30 to 40%, which I guess is okay. It's nothing crazy, and then it can be chained with everything that's the same there. Okay, so the only thing they buffed is they buffed the duration from 30 to 40%. The ultimate. So yeah, they actually did buff this sort of the way I wanted them to. So they changed the 3 battle members boost from 30% to 40% ultimate damage, which might not seem like a big buff, and it's certainly not that big of a buff, but I do think that matters because most of the time you're going to be using this ultimate against 1 battle member, or sorry, against 3 battle members remaining, just to secure a kill in most instances. I would have liked it to be 50 and then make the 2 battle members 70 and have it be 50, 70, 90. I feel like that would be better, but I'll take the small buff on the 3 members remaining one. That's fine. All right, I don't really expect them to change anything about the main ability because it's already really good. So he draws the Ultimate Arts card, Ultra Divine Dance, 30% HP, 50 key, minus 100% sustained damage cut for 30 counts. Yeah, that is the same. That they did not change that at all. So that is interesting. They did not give him... the only thing I thought they might have done for this is given him some kind of cover nullification for like 10 counts or whatever on this, but they did not go down that path. Really good Z ability. Definitely expecting Purple Future. Yeah, Purple Future makes sense. Which, again, I think will be a very strong Zenkai ability moving forward, as they always buff Future every celebration. So, all right, first unique ability. Applies the following effects to self when battle starts. He gets 60% damage inflicted, 40% of reduced damage received. So that goes up from 35%. Reduced enemy key by 15 when this character enters the battlefield. So they did buff that as well. It used to be 10. I would have liked to have seen that be like 25 instead of 15. I mean, 15 is at least better than 10, but I don't think this is going to make a giant difference. Additional 10% damage inflicted per enemy battle member. That is the same. And then inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10 arts cost for 3 counts. That is the same as well. Okay, so that's very minor changes to this. He only gets an extra 5 key reduction when entering the battlefield and a additional 5% reduced damage received. So I assume he's going to have somewhere else in his kit that has reduced damage received, because 40% is just not going to cut it. All right, Purging Blades nullifies enemies, restores health when it reaches 0 effects when this character attacks. That's just permanent endurance nullification. Applies the following effects to self every time when faced with an enemy. Oh, he actually, yeah, okay, nice. So he grabs the strike card and they gave him key by 20, which is exactly what I wanted to see. This is the exact line where I pointed out in my video yesterday that I really wanted them to just add key recovery to this, and they did. That's very good. Looks like he retains the 15% chance to reduce enemies' Dragon Balls by 1 upon landing a strike card, which again, I think is a strong mechanic, but it's just super luck based, right? You could go multiple matches in a row without seeing that activate a single time, or you could get this to activate 3 times in one combo. So obviously gonna depend on how lucky you get with that. Cover change against strike. So it looks like they did not add the green card to be chainable off of the cover change, which I honestly, I didn't expect them to do that, but it would have made this guy a lot stronger if they did. But they did not go down that path. Okay. So let's check out the new unique abilities this guy's grabbing. Herald of Ruin. Applies the following effects to enemy when they perform a cover change while this character is in the battlefield. Randomly destroys 2 cards, reduces ki by 50. Yeah, this is the thing that they talked about on Twitter when they announced this guy's Zenkai. I don't really think this is a great mechanic. The only way it's going to be effective at all, I think, is if the enemy has a blue card and they cover change against you, because that removes their ability to chain their cover change, right? But other than that, I don't really think this is that great of an ability at all. Following effects occur if this character is in the battlefield after an allied attack ends. So, okay. This is the Android 17 and 18 ability. Restores own ki by 20, gets card draw speed by 1 level for 5 counts, inflicts all enemies that should downgrade minus 20% health restoration. So it's certainly not as good as the Android 17 and 18 ability, but this ability is so powerful with quick attack. That's one of the reasons why I felt like the quick attack update really buffed the androids, is because they can utilize the quick attack to just get quick instances of this buff applied. Card draw speed for 5 counts, I wouldn't really call that too crazy. This is a character though that I don't really think necessarily needs the card draw speed, just because he already has the strike card draw ability when he faces an enemy. I mean, obviously it would be nice if he got it, but 5 counts, 20 ki. So basically you get all these effects after doing a quick attack. So this is a character that really wants to quick attack a lot, I guess is what they're going for here. So that's okay. I wouldn't really call this a monster unique ability. All right, the final one, a God's Rage. Applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. He gets 15% to strike damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. Reduces damage received by 15% for 15 timer counts. That's really good. 30% to ki recovery for 15 timer counts. Applies the following effects to self after enemy attack is over. Restores 20% of damage received up to 20% of own HP. And then he gets 30% to the next strike arch damage inflicted. Cannot be stacked. Which again does apply after he's quick attacked, tap attacked, any of those things, tackled. So that shouldn't be that hard to activate. This guy's going to be doing a lot of damage, I think. He's on a good team, Future, has access to a lot of support characters, has access to good equipment, really good Z ability, really good Zenkai ability, permanent endurance nullification. His blue card's very strong, green card is very strong. Overall, I think this guy looks pretty good. Just from initially looking at his kit, I don't think he'll be as good as LL Super Saiyan 4 Goku. The main thing that he wanted with cover nullification, he doesn't have it anywhere in it. Like, there's nowhere in his kit where he has cover nullification, so I think that's really going to hurt. This is a character that is able to draw multiple cards from facing enemies. He's now getting ki back when he faces enemies, and so for a character like that, they want to just continue comboing for a long period of time, and also just to have an extra chance to destroy more Dragon Balls, right? A 15% chance to destroy Dragon Balls when landing a strike card. So again, a character that wants to be attacking for a long period of time and comboing for a long period of time, it's just going to be very difficult for this guy to do that with all the cover change units we have in the game right now. So we'll see how well he holds up, but I do think he'll still be good. All right, so that's Rosé's Zenkai. Let's go ahead and move down and take a look at the free-to-play Merged ZAMASU. Now, based off of what they said in the Twitter preview, I really am not too optimistic about this character, and we'll go into that in a second, but looks like he's green and melee. Melee is good because Future is very strike-based, so I'm happy to see that he's a melee type. All right, let's go bump him up. All right, so keep in mind, this is pre-title boost. It's actually looking pretty good stat-wise. He's very heavily strike-based, but again, I don't think that's an issue, just based off of the fact of how strike-based the Future tag is. So he's going to have like over 260 strike. He's going to have close to 170,000 strike defense and then like what, 168,000 blast defense. Yeah, those are good stats. I don't think anything wrong with these stats. Strike and a blast. Look how many tags he's on. God Key, Future, Regen, Fusion Warrior, Powerful Opponent. Like, Merged Monsters on like every team. Okay, so he has a 50% chance to inflict bleed with his strike card. Blast is normal. The blue card is Divine Wrath. Major explode damage. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 20% of damage received for 20 counts. Very, very, very uber generic blue card. The green card is a stop time. Gives him 30 key, 20% to strike damage inflicted, 20% special move damage inflicted. Restores own vanishing gauge by 50%, and that is infinite uses. There is no restriction on that. That's pretty good. I think 50%, like, okay, I always mention this, but the difference between 50 and 60% and 70% is a big difference, because 70% most of the time will allow you to actually regain your vanish fully upon vanishing. 60% and 50%, just like, there's a pretty big break point between the 60 and 70% values. So I think a lot of times this 50% is not really going to mean that much, but it could be good. I think in some instances you're going to get a lot of value out of this. So that's good. That's cool. I'm happy to see that. Main ability is Eternal and Noble God. Draws a strike card next. Heals by 25%, gets 40 key. 40% strike damage inflicted, which is a permanent buff. So you want to just pop this as soon as possible, I guess. Then he cancels own attribute downgrades on normal conditions. Z ability is 33% of future tag exclusive or event exclusive or tag powerful opponent. Base, strike, and blast defense, so both defenses. First unique ability, 25% of strike damage inflicted against tag God Key. Oh, great. Yeah, God Key is the tag we all hate right now. Yeah, thanks. Applies the following effects to self when battle starts. 80% damage inflicted, 50% reduced damage received, too low. 20% strike damage inflicted, and then -5 to strike card's cost. The following effects occur after enemy attack is over. He gains 30% of HP of damage received. 20% special move damage inflicted. Card draw speed for 20 counts, and then inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 30% damage received. This is actually a really solid ability right here. This final portion. Again, he gets tap attacked, he gets tackled, he gets tap punched, he gets, just nicked on the shoulder. Like, that counts as an enemy attack being over. 20 counts of card draw speed for that is pretty good. Like, that's solid. And then that debuff is gonna apply a lot. Like, if the enemy is just constantly tap attacking you and tap blasting you and stuff like that, like, you're gonna rack this up pretty fast. Multiple 30% damage received debuffs is gonna add up. So we'll see. I do like this. I think this, so far out of everything I've seen so far with this character, this bottom portion of the first unique ability is what makes him a good character in my opinion. All right, Absolute Justice applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. Draws a strike card next. That's really good. Gets 10% HP, 20 key, reduces damage received by 15%. Okay, that's good. Because 50% on this initial one is definitely not even close to good enough. Also applies the following effects to self per defeated ally or enemy battle member. 25% damage inflicted, -2 to arts costs, and then plus 20% to key recovery. Okay, so here's my issue with this. This is the portion of the unique ability that they sort of previewed on Twitter. And here's the reason why I don't like this. When you are using a free-to-play character in your team, more often than not, if you're even remotely fighting a good team, or you even remotely are using a good team yourself, more often than not, the free-to-play character is going to be the worst character on your team. You most likely are not going to be running a character that's worse than this guy and expecting to actually be competitive. Like, this is obviously not meant to be like geared towards players who aren't that serious about the game, which is fine. But if you're actually legitimately going into, like, top 10,000 match, I would even say, and most of the time, guess who you're fighting? The hybrid Beast Gohan team, right? I would say most of the time you're not going to be using a character that's worse than this guy. So the fact that he requires you or your enemy to have less characters remaining to get his damage buffs. Like, okay, so here's most of the time what happens. If this is the worst character on your team, who are you most likely to sacrifice to a rush? This character, right? The enemy also having less characters, meaning you get a higher damage boost. Again, the deeper you go into a fight, the more often and the more likely it is that you're going to have to sacrifice one of your characters to a rush as well. And the number one option of who you're going to sacrifice is this character. The reason why the free-to-play Trunks was so good, and the reason why most people still regard that free-to-play Trunks as the best free-to-play unit in the game they've ever released, well, maybe not including Ultras, but he's up there, is because of the fact that he comes with death buffs. And a lot of what that Trunks is doing is that Trunks was actually designed perfectly as a free-to-play character. That Trunks was designed to come into the battlefield, do a lot of damage. He actually had a perfect main ability for a free-to-play unit. He gained a full hand and gained cover nullification. He got all that out of the system. He gained Dragon Balls. He's doing good damage. And then once he's out of steam, once he's used his main ability, once you no longer have use for him, you sack him off to a rush. And that's his role. And I think that's a perfect role right now for a free-to-play character. So for this guy to sort of be relying on a match going for a longer period of time, and for this guy surviving until the end, the last 1/3 or even the last 1/2 of a match, I don't really think is realistic for somebody who actually wants to be able to win a lot of times. So I'm not really a huge fan of that design choice. If you guys watch my EX Majub showcase, that EX Majub actually also does depend on you having a dead ally to get a lot of his extra abilities. And it's like, why would I want that to happen when I'm always going to be sacrificing that Majub first anyway? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you going to design an EX character, and in this case a free-to-play character, to rely on you having dead allies to make them better when most of the time they're going to be the ones you choose to have killed, right? So, not really a huge fan of that. At least it's semi-mitigated by the fact that it also does include enemy battle members, which is fine. Like, if you're winning the match and you're just completely dominating somebody, then yeah, I guess he will, be stronger. But if that's the case, you're most likely going to be winning anyway. So I don't know. The longer the match goes, the stronger this guy gets. Being a free-to-play unit, not really a huge fan of that design. But overall, I think he actually looks pretty good. This ability right here to me does actually seem really good. Healing, getting ki back, like he has all the tools. He doesn't have cover null, which is again one of the biggest things that you could get, and I think the fact that he gains vanish back on the green card is very strong as well. So overall he seems pretty good for a free-to-play character, but that last portion of the second unique ability, I'm not really a huge fan of this. All right, and then let's take a look at the equipment we received. I think we did get some good stuff this week for equipment. I think we have I know rush resets, so I'm expecting not this. I'm expecting a new Awakened equipment here. Let's see if we can spot anything in the list. Actually, anything up here? No. So I know we're getting a new co-op as well. Here's something new. What is this? Foolish Mortals. This is for Future and God Key. Okay, so both defenses. Oh no, it's only one. You select one. Okay, so 10% to one of base defenses. Oh, but it's base. It's a base blast defense per party member using this same equipment. So that does count. That is really specific because this counts bench units, doesn't it? So if you have a full team that's using this equipment, you're going to be getting 30%, right? Because it's times 6. You're going to be getting a 30% base blast defense and base strike defense buff, plus 10% of whatever this is. But to get that, you have to be running 6 future God Key units. That is very restricted. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a huge fan of that. No. Sorry. Then we have this. This is actually a unique equipment for the red LF Merged ZAMASU. So that's really nice. That's hopefully going to give him a nice buff. I think this Merged ZAMASU is actually still pretty good. So I think he is in the range of he's definitely deserving of a unique equipment. I think he's still a little bit too good to be getting a Zenkai. So I'm glad they went down the path of giving him the unique equipment instead. So let's see. 2 glorious and unparalleled powers. So the first slot is 35% to strike and blast attack. Okay. Slot 2 is 15% to HP and then 45% to strike and blast defense. Nice. That's good. And then slot 3. All right, what kind of ability did they give him here? So 20% damage inflicted. Restores own health by 20% if it's 50% or below after enemy attack is over. Restores own health by 20% if it's 30% or below after enemy attack is over. Activates 1 time. So you have... So this is more of a defensive one, huh? Honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of them giving this Zamasu defensive utility. When his role since he came out, when this Zamasu released, he was a glass cannon. And certainly now, in this day and age, he will also be a glass cannon. So I'm not really too high on them giving him more defensive utility. I'd rather they just focus on offense. Okay. So he's the way this works is he's getting 2 different instances of 20% healing. He's going to heal by 20% if your HP is 50% or below, and then he's going to heal another 20% if your HP is 30% or below. The only thing I'm not sure of is, does this activate twice, right? So if you're below 30% HP and you take a hit, is it gonna proc both of those at once, or are you gonna get a 40% heal? I actually don't know, but that is something to keep, I guess, our eye on here. I guess the 20% damage inflicted buff is nice, and then obviously all the other stats he's getting are nice. If instead of the healing, I would have preferred if they just made it so, like, I don't know, he gets 10% damage inflicted every time he uses a strike. Like, you know what they could have given him? I'm going to tell you right now what they could have given him. Take a look at Android 17, the one that just came out. I'm actually going to pull it up on my screen, my computer here. Android 17's ability. This would have actually been pretty perfect for the Zamasu, I think. Where is it? 10% damage inflicted for 10 counts every time this character uses an arts card if enemy's health is 70% or less. That would have been a really strong ability for this Zamasu to have on the 3rd slot of this equipment, I feel like. Just, I don't like the stance of giving this guy more defensive utility when he's never been a character that could eat any kind of hits, right? Guess who's going to come in and one-shot this character from full health, right? It's very obvious. Now, obviously, you can't base everything around Beast Gohan, but this character has been a glass cannon since he released, and I think trying to, like, even out the playing field in terms of how good he is offensively and defensively is a mistake, but we'll see. All right, so that's that. And then there should be, yeah, there's a Awakened equipment here. This is the Rosé ones. This is for Super Saiyan Rosé tag. Very specific. 20% base strike attack. He gets 13% of damage against hybrid Saiyans. And then he gets 10% HP and 10% ultimate damage. So this is a very targeted equipment. Obviously, you're not going to be using this unless hybrids are pretty relevant, which I think does apply right now. So it's good to see that they're making this right now. But honestly, like, if we're in a meta where hybrids are not, you know, running around every other match or something like that, then I really wouldn't use this. Pretty niche, like, this is specifically for Super Saiyan Rosé, and specifically when hybrids are good. So it's a very niche equipment. Probably going to only farm one of these, but, you know, in a meta like this that we have right now, it's actually pretty good, which is obviously why they made this. So yeah, definitely not unusable, but it's very, very niche. So that is pretty much everything I think are getting this week. If we get anything else, I will let you guys know in an updated video, but let me know down below what you guys think of the free-to-play Merged Zamasu, the LF Rosé Zenkai Awakening, and the unique equipment for the LF Merged Zamasu. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one.